Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Jane Warren podcast. I am joined with an incredible guest who, if you're watching a video, is fanning herself because both in Canada and Germany right now, it is 35 degrees Celsius with humidity. So it is hot, 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 hot. And we are going to be talking today all about why it's so vital to know yourself. Not only know yourself, know your worth, and be mindful of your energy. This has played a critical role in where I'm at right now, getting clearer and clearer and doing that self-discovery with myself. So, Bea Marie, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being here.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. And I love what we're going to talk about because this is, like you said, vital for
Vital.
everybody.
It is vital. So Bea Marie and I met last year and we were a part of the same summit, and I just love you. And she is a holistic success guide. And let me tell you a little bit more about her. So not only is she a holistic success guide and expansion mentor, she is a beacon of inspiration and transformation. So, as an international best-selling author, renowned speaker, energy master and healer, and edutainer, she's masterfully blends neuroscience and the woo-woo. We love a little woo-woo. I love it, but I love that blend with neuroscience. So she hosts a podcast herself, 52 Weeks of Flow, which I have been on, and she also is exploring peak performance and life enhancement. So she is all truly the creatrix of the Superwoman oh my God, like
Symposium.
symposium. Wow. I have never had my podcast manager edit something. I'm like, let's edit that one. Like, I need to add bloopers. I'm like, okay. Okay, so I should read these before. Okay, anyway. As the creatrix of the Superwoman Symposium and the Expansion Week, she is empowering women and champions collaborations. Her clients call her a magic wand for your life and business. All right, I'm going to read that again. I'm going to tell my girl to edit that out because, okay. January, edit that shit out, okay? I'm going to redo that. Okay. Let's go back into a little bio on what Bea Marie is. I'm sweating now. Literally. Okay. Bea Marie Anning is a holistic success guide and expansion mentor. She is a beacon of inspiration and transformation. So, as an international best-selling author, renowned speaker, energy master healer, and edutainer, she masterfully blends neuroscience and woo-woo. So, Bea Marie hosts a podcast, 52 Weeks of Flow, exploring peak performance and life enhancement. As a creatrix and Superwoman Symposium and the expansion week, she is empowering women and champions collaboration. Her clients call her magic wand for your life and business. Sounds amazing. I'm so excited. All right, here we go. Both of us here are like sweating. Whew. All right, so listeners, first things first, if this is your first podcast with me, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And if you're returning, you know I love you. And we're both so grateful that you're taking truly time out of your day, your busy schedule, your life to listen. You've got a curiosity to better yourself. This is, you were called to this. There's no such thing as coincidence. You're listening to this for a reason. So you're going to take some really cool shit away. So let's dive into this, Bea Marie. Why, firstly, do you believe that in today's world, like, why do we struggle with knowing ourselves? Why is this so important?
Those are actually two questions.
Yeah, let's start with the first one.
So why do we struggle with it? We have to start when we enter this earth, when we come to this planet. When you see little kids, they don't question their self-worth. They don't question themselves. They just do. They just live. They just act out of curiosity, out of their gut, out of joy. They just do things. They don't question themselves. Am I good enough to do this? Am I able to do this? No, they see something and they think, that looks like fun. Let's do it. And then our parents come in because they have had experiences. So they say, please be careful. which in our subconscious mind anchors in as I am not careful. That's why they're telling me to be careful. So I am starting to not only feel like I'm the king of the world. I'm like, woo. No, I'm like, I'm not careful. I am not careful. Like those words, like I am, they go really, really deep. And so other stuff starts to happen. You know, when you come to school, then I don't know, people make fun of you for your hair or for your clothes or for whatever, you know, or they don't even make fun of you, but they just laugh and look in your direction. And you think they're laughing about me. Oh, so I am not cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's the I am thing. The more we think I am not, the lesser we think of ourselves. So if you think about we're coming to this earth on with like 100% self-worth, 100% self-assurance, 100% of everything. And the more we grow up, me, like a battery, you know, it just sinks until we finally discover that all of the outside noise, all of the opinions of other people have nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing at all. And
Oh
until that point, we struggle because at some point we feel like, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you.
That is such an amazing perspective. Like, I'm gonna be mind blown this whole time because I'm like, I was listening on a podcast and they were talking exactly about that. And I just recorded a training that was like, when did you stop dreaming? After, like, when you were dreaming when you were a kid, but when you became an adult, like when you, I don't know, got some like sense or something, or not sense, because really, if we had sense, we would keep dreaming, you know? And that's a really great perspective on where this comes from and why our like knowing ourselves and our self-worth gets diminished. And I think if anyone listening that, you know, whether you're a parent, whether you have nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever, whether you're communicating to your partner, a friend, or someone, like, think about what you're saying, because like you said, these are driving home they're driving home beliefs. And like you don't even think about that, like, be careful. I never even would have thought like the aftermath, you know what I mean? What happens afterwards from the receiving side of that, and how that can then impact, you know, how you just think, oh, I'm taking care of them. I'm being cautious. And I think too, like, as well, when I was listening to this podcast, they were like, you know, kids, when you're a kid, like, you think about what you wanted to be, superstar, movie star, like pop star, whatever, who cares? You know what I mean? Surgeon, like veterinarian, all those things that come through. And it's like, when people say things like, oh, I want to be like a movie star, I want to be like a pop star, it's like people will be like, their parents can easily, or just listeners, you know, whoever's hearing that could be like, yeah, okay. All right. Oh, that's never going to happen. Like, we don't realize those things. And you're exactly right. Like, as a kid, we don't think about that. We're like, I think it's so fun to watch kids, actually. And like, I don't have any kids myself, but my nephew, and I was sitting in the park the other day and I was watching this little girl, and she was so cute. And she was sitting in this little, kind of like a little hut that was made at the park. And she was like, who wants some ice cream? I'm selling ice cream. And I was like, this girl, like, she's going to be a boss one day. And she was like, what flavor do you want? Come on over here. And it was so cute. Like, all these little kids are going over. They're like, hi, I'd like an ice cream, please. And then it's like, okay, what flavor? And then then all of a sudden they start chasing each other. And she's like, you took my sprinkles. Like, you know what I mean? But it's so funny because they're so playful. And like, why do we stop doing that?
Because we listen. We listen to people that we trust.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you know, it's not that you cannot correct your kids, you know, that's because probably a lot of parents are going to say like, yeah, but how am I supposed to, what can I say to my child?
Yeah.
Don't tell them to be anything. Talk about their behavior. You're acting a little reckless right now, or you're acting a little please act a little bit more mindful. It's about their actions, because actions can be corrected, in parentheses. Actions can be changed. Who you are cannot be changed. The only thing that changes who you are is when you try to be somebody else. And you start trying to be somebody else when you think something is wrong with the original you.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
deep.
I get shivers right now, goosebumps, and everything.
Oh, so obviously lots of struggles externally when it comes to, knowing yourself. Also too, like trusting in who you are and being comfortable in who you are. So we go down these paths. Every single client I've worked with has lost themselves. I lost myself. You know what I mean? It's like I've lost myself many times along my journey, going down paths that, felt right, but I was not necessarily doing it for the right reasons. Wasn't, following my own true desires, my own true wants, who I really am. I was being who I thought other people wanted me to be. So as people, this will definitely open some awareness on that. How does someone start to reconnect with that? Like reconnect with who they are and start that kind of self-discovery, probably some self-healing type journey.
Well, you basically gave the answer. The moment that you find that something is not working, all of the sudden, when you feel like something isn't right, if it's a person in front of you, if it's a job, if it's something that feels not right. Later, when you go on a healing journey, then you use words like, oh, it's not aligned. It's not aligned with my path. It's not aligned with me. But when you start out, it's like, that doesn't feel good. I don't feel good. I feel tired. I feel burned out. I feel like I'm pushing against like this huge mountain and it's not moving. And that is because you're not supposed to go that way. You're not supposed to go down that road. If it's so hard to be with a couple of people, maybe you shouldn't be with those people. Same thing with, when you go on a podcast or when you're invited to speak somewhere, and for some reason it's not happening. Like your kids get sick, or it's a physical stage and your train gets canceled. There is a car crash in front of you. There is like all this stuff and you cannot make it. For some reason, you're not supposed to be there. But when the next opportunity comes, this is when you have exactly the right information, the exact right frequency, the exact energy that needs to be so that people can accept or receive your message. And so coming back to childhood speech, like how do we talk to each other? How do we talk to our kids? How do we talk to ourselves? The first thing to start when you feel like something is not right, you need to X-ray your vocabulary, the words that you use most of the time against yourself. We are our hardest critics. The others around us can be so loud, but our inner critic is the loudest. If everyone around us would just shut up and don't say anything, that voice would still be there. And so when you figured out maybe that voice comes from your parents, maybe that comes from your grandma, maybe that comes from a bully in school, maybe that comes from wherever. When you have identified that voice, make this voice your friend. Because for some crazy reason, that voice is supposed to be there to protect you. Even when it pushes you down, even when it does. Because now we're diving a little bit into neuroscience. Our brain is created to protect us from dying. Okay? We need to know that. It's not here to protect us from, making a little mistake or investing in something that is not right for us. No, it's here to prevent us from dying, prevent us from being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. And our brain is programmed to, when we approach an opportunity, an event, something, our brain will go in the past and go through all of our experience that we ever had, and will tell us from that past experience if we should do this or not. The thing is, we are already a new person than we were 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So our brain has not caught up with that. So every advice our brain gives us is basically from a 95-year-old perspective, saying, back then everything was better. And so I don't think that you should ride a motorcycle because this is really dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're riding a motorcycle, you have trained, you maybe did this kind of practice, you did this, you did that, you're prepared. So you should go for it. So this voice, your brain's voice, your bully's voice, your inner voice, whatever those voices are, give them names, give them a
Like persona.
A persona, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But make it a good persona.
Mm-hmm.
Make it something that you would like to listen to. Make this your friend. And when they come up, when that fear, that security feeling comes up, talk to them. Say, hey, okay, why are we afraid of this right now? Why shouldn't we do that? But we prepared for it. We did that. You can rationalize this. Because this fear then, or this protection mechanism, is not rational. So by that, you can tell your brain that this is okay. It's good. Thank you. Thank you so much for protecting me. Thank you so much. But there's no saber-toothed tiger over there. And there is no huge waterfall that I would drown because I can swim. There's it's just a business decision, or it's just, I'm going to go on a date with this person. And there are 10,000 people around us. And I'm not going to drink alcohol. I'm going to be safe, blah, 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 whatever the fear is that's in your head. Of course, if it's your gut feeling, if your gut, your uterus, your womb space is acting up, that is a mechanism that you should not ignore. That is not the chitty chatter voice in your head. This is really your intuition telling you, go the other road, drive the other way, don't date that person, don't. But to listen to that, to listen to your intuition, you really have to come back to yourself. Know yourself. Know the difference between those voices.
How can someone start to understand, someone might be listening to this right now and thinking, okay, yes, I know that I can think about, my negative self-talk and the things that you say, this inner critic that we all have. They can identify that. And these feelings in their gut, how would you say someone can start to differentiate between the two?
So, okay, this is a funny story. When I started learning what my intuition says, your intuition is very, very clear. It says yes or no. There's no maybe, or can we talk about it? Or no, it's really like yes or no. And most of the time we don't like the answer. And probably in the past, we have ignored that because we didn't like the answer.
Yes, I have for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't end relationships I should have ended them sooner, but I didn't end them because my intuition was telling me no, but my mind was like,
but he's so cute. And look, he brought me flowers.
Exactly. He says he's going to change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's an episode in itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, ooh, we're going to stretch it.
I'm like a mindset coach. I'm like, what drug was I on? Well, what was happening? Because it's I know better.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God, yeah. So when I started, training my intuition, your intuition is like a muscle that you can train. So, if you're not listening, if you cannot hear it right now, there's no problem. You can train it. And the simplest thing is you go to a supermarket, like I did a couple of years ago. You stand in front of, the fruit section or the veggie section, whatever you want. And then you pick up a vegetable and ask yourself, does my body, do I want a pepper? And then you wait. And you wait for the answer, whatever you feel in your body. And if there's like this little, I don't know what feeling, then okay, I'm going to put this down. Do I want a cucumber? Maybe it's the same feeling. Maybe it's a different feeling. But you cannot say, do I want this or that?
Mm-hmm.
Because the universe does, or your intuition doesn't answer by, well, you should make a cucumber pepper salad. So you need to go step by step and listen to or feel into. Some people hear it. Some people hear a clear yes or no. Some people, have all of a sudden like a green light, like things. Some people, have this gut, like a really gut reflex, like there's this, like you get punched in the stomach or something like that. Or, sometimes you just get poked in the stomach. Or some people lean forward or some people lean backward. You need to figure out how your body reacts. You can also do that by, that's even easier. You stand up, you've put your feet hip wide, and you ask simple yes or no questions that you know the answer to. And say, is my name Bea Marie? So my gut is like, yes. It's like, yes. So, and for some people, that's like leaning in, it's like this, just a slight reaction, like even with the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ask a question where you definitely know the answer is no. Am I a boy? It's like this. So, so this is how I know it can be frustrating when you don't feel, hear, or see anything right away. Just keep on trying. Mm-hmm. Try to figure out what is your yes, what is your no. Mm-hmm. And then you can probably go back to decisions that you made where like, there, yeah, it said no. Clearly, really no. And yeah. I thought I had the flu. Yeah.
I was just thinking that about reflecting back on times in your life where you've made, doesn't have to be big decisions, where you've just made decisions, but you had a feeling. And it's like, how many times have we said, oh, I like knew I shouldn't have done that. Like I made the decision, then you're like, I shouldn't have done that. And then you do, you afterwards, you're like, yeah. And I think I love though that this is like a muscle, like your intuition and following your intuition, which is going to help you get in tune with yourself and, reconnect with yourself. I love that it's a muscle. Like, how great is that? This is something you can work on. I love that simple example of choosing food, seeing how you feel. Like, fortunately, like, I don't know, I think I've always been very intuitive. Like I think it's just always something. It's guided me in everything I've done, like from a very young age. From, even just moving from Ottawa, which is 4 hours from Toronto, to Toronto. It's just like, I'm doing it. Like, it's just like, should I move to Toronto? Yes. Like, I'm doing it, Should I sell all my belongings, quit my job, and travel around the world when I was 29? Feels good. Let's go. Like, you know what I mean? But I know right away, like, simple things too. Like, for example, I'm just going to redo my website, and about like 6 weeks ago, maybe, my coach had approached me about the opportunity of taking on two clients to redo their websites. And I was in a point, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with my website. What's funny is like my mom had just complimented me on it, but my background's in website development and design. So I was like, to a 70-year-old woman, yeah, my website looks amazing. You know what I mean? But to me, my mom was like, your website's beautiful and all this stuff. And I was like, but like, for me, I was like, oh, yes, the images are nice, but like, it's not representative of where my brand's at. It's not representative of the things I've accomplished. Like it's not there. It's not front and center. So anyway, but even just 5 weeks ago, she had said, I have 2 spaces. Would you like, are you interested? Post it to our group. And I was like, I literally was like, oh, like yes, but I said, but no. Like, I was like, yes, I do, but not right now. And she goes, another spot may not open till January. And I literally was like, okay, like, I don't know, so much can happen between now and January. I was just like, okay, I trusted my gut. I just wasn't ready. a week ago, a new space opened up. And she reached out to me knowing that I was like on the fence before, but my intuition was just saying, no, I just wasn't mentally ready to take on that investment sort of thing. She asked me again. She said, oh, a space opened up for August. I'm about to hit send on an email to everyone. So if you're interested, let me know. And I just said, when do I have to make a decision? She's like, oh, I don't want to rush you, but like, obviously I'm looking to fill this. So today. And I was like, literally, okay, send me the invoice. And it was like, I just knew, like, I was like, now's the time. I have more clarity on where I'm taking my business right now and who I'm going after. And I am going to have more and more organizations looking me up. So I was like, yeah, they're going to for sure be like, what's her website? You know what I mean? And I need that. I want that to be like, I want it to represent me, especially my background in that. I'm like, it's like, I feel like I have to have that. So, but it's so interesting because it was like a split decision. Like I just looked at my phone and I was like, I have the means in various ways to pay for this. So I was like, okay. Like it's just so funny, right? But it's how I really trust in my decision. There's an amazing book too that I'm not sure if you've read before called The Having. And
No, no.
it's amazing. And it's by Soo Hun Yoon. And I'll send you the link after.
Okay.
And it's called The Having. And it's all about being grateful for what you have. This is a woman that from a very young age was like a guru. Like she became like literally like the age of like 6, she was like a guru. And people as she got older were seeking her out for guidance on abundance. And it's all about being grateful for, what's it called? The having, being grateful for what you have. And she has this like buying signal. And she would say, like, you put your thumb and pointer finger together and you put it up to like your eye if you're going to make a purchase or something. And it's like, do you have an immediate green light or no? And it's literally like, it's like the intuition. It's yes or no. And I mean, you can do anything for it. You can just think about it. And I literally live by this. So it's like as simple as I saw this really cute outfit that I got, filtered on or targeted on Instagram. So freaking cute. But I just invested a lot in my website and done these things. And it's so funny because it's like 1/100th of the cost of the investment of my website. But it's like I went so far as I was like in the cart, I was looking at it, I was like, is this site legit? All these things. And then I was like, nope, the having signal is a red light. And it's like if you like we can't be making purchases, spending money if we don't feel good about it. This goes for anything in life though, any decision in life. If you don't feel good about it, it's not going to help you feel more abundant. It's not going to help you feel better. It's like if you're shopping and feeling guilty, and the book is really fascinating because it teaches you to be grateful for everything that you have, find gratitude and really ground yourself in what you have so that, as you're getting more, you're ready to receive it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said when you feel guilty about something, it's the vibration you send out. If you believe in energy or not, you can call it energy, you can call it manifesting, prayer. Scientists call it quantum physics. It's energy. It is what you send out. The vibration, the thoughts, the feelings that you send out will come back to you. We live in a resonant universe. We don't live in I wish for this, but I'm not going to do anything for it. Or I'm going to do the exact opposite. This is not how it works. You are the magnet, and what you send out, what you radiate out will come back to you. Well, a magnet is like the opposite, but I hope you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, so for sure.
When I was in my late 20s, I had the money and I was like, yes, I'm going to go on a world tour. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do this. And then my mom said, bless her heart, she was like, yeah, but your grandparents are really, really old. We don't know how long they have. They lived another 15 years.
You're like, they're still ticking. Oh my gosh.
And it was like every Christmas, I I love Christmas. Christmas is a great season, but I also love to, just get away, because in my former life, I was an actress and I was on the job like all year around, except between Christmas and the first week of January. So I always thought like, yes, and let's go. Yeah, but Christmas, we don't know how long your grandparents have.
This could be their last Christmas.
It could be their last Christmas. And that haunted me. It haunted me every freaking Christmas. I still love Christmas, but it's like this thing of I did not go because I felt guilty if they would have died. I felt guilty before anything happened.
It's like also too, at that point, you think when you understand energy and stuff, you're like, is my mom manifesting their death? Like, it's like it's also, when we start like, or it's like you get insurance for something and you're like, do I believe that I'm going to need this? Like, why would I put that out there? Like it's.
Yeah. So when you want something, this is another thing, what brings you back to yourself. When you want something, you go for it, not in a reckless way, not in a way that hurts other people. But when you see something, when you have a vision about something, that vision is given to you for a reason. This vision is given to you because you are capable of bringing this into this reality, into our world. You are able to create it. You have everything to create it. Even when you think, oh, I'm not ready. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I don't have the money. Oh, I need to learn more. Oh, I need to study more. No. When you get that vision, when you see that picture in your mind, when you're like, I need to create a summit, or I need to go to Africa, or I had this podcast interview with a really, really fascinating woman. She only follows her intuition. Like her intuition tells her, I need to be in Costa Rica in 3 days. Okay, book a flight. Then she lands in Costa Rica. All of a sudden, there's this person at the airport and they say, hey, did you just land? And, usually we're like, airport. Yeah. What do you want? Really cautious. But they said, our tour, do you do yoga? Yeah. They asked, do you do yoga? And she was like, yeah, I'm a yoga instructor. Oh, great. Our yoga instructor, she bailed, like she's not on the flight she's supposed to be. Can you, for the next week, come to our retreat center and be the yoga teacher, yoga instructor? So she went there, was a yoga instructor for a week, then went on to, and through that, another project. And she's there for like 2 years now. And just as I talked to her, she was like, I'm on my way back to New York because I am called to go back to New York. So when you have a vision, when you have a feeling of something, if it's good or if it's negative, coming back to, intuition telling you, don't date that guy, go down the other road. Listen to that. And when you see something, when you feel something and you're like, I'm not ready, you have that vision because you are ready, because you are prepared, because everything that you have been doing up to this point, everything that you lived through up to this point, if you have a degree on it, or if you have a certificate about it, or a diploma or whatever, doesn't matter. When you have the experience, even if you don't think so, when that comes to you, go for it.
Can you touch a little bit too on, I understand this in depth, but I think for listeners, it'll be very impactful and help them understand. You were touching on energy, and energy, is so important in order to get anything that we want. Can you talk about the connection between the negative self-talk that we talked at the beginning and how that's really impacting energy within people? Because this is a key thing. When you start to understand how your thinking is impacting, your feelings, your energy, all of that, that kind of unlocks a little bit on, okay, now when you understand how it's working against you, how can we get it to work for you? Can you touch on that even from from your perspective?
Yeah, of course. And I would like to take a really, really practical approach on this because, energy is like this, for a lot of people, it's this vast, this you cannot really, it's not tangible. It's nothing that you can measure in a way. Well, you can, but for most people, you cannot touch it. It's nothing that you see or that you need
tangible.
to feel it. Yeah. So when we talk about negative self-talk, where does that come from? It comes from our thoughts. Where do our thoughts come from? They come from a feeling. So at some point in our life, we felt a certain way when something happened. And this anchors somewhere in our bodies. So when maybe something completely different happens, but that feeling gets triggered. That feeling moves into our head, and the thought of, oh, back then, this and this happened. So, or I felt, or I had this, I wasn't good enough. Then the negative self-talk, the belief gets implemented in, oh yeah, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not good enough because and then you open up the bullet point list of why you're not good enough. And then you respond, you speak in a way that you're not good enough. Like you react defensive, you react aggressive, or you react really low key, like you're subordinate in a way because you're not good enough. And then after you spoke it, you act like you're not good enough. You're not applying for the job. You're not going out with a person that you're madly in love with because you're not good enough to ask them out. Or you don't create what you actually want because you think you talk to yourself because you're already a failure. You're not doing it because, you're not good enough. You cannot do this. Blah, blah, blah,
Why
blah.
would that work for you?
Why would that work for you?
Hard.
All of those sentences. And that is when you radiate it out. The feeling already sends out energy. We can feel each other. If we are aware of it or not, we can feel each other. We can feel each other's feelings. But the moment we speak it, the other person gets the exact vibration of your tone of voice, the words that you use. So they get the baseball bat in the face with your energy. And then when you act upon it, it's even bigger. So this is like this is how in our bodies, this is how it works. But what actually happens all before that, our heart has a magnetic field that spreads out about 2 feet, like 1.5 meters, 2 meters outside of our bodies. So when we meet somebody, our heart spaces interact with each other. So that is how we can feel the energy of the other person already before we have even spoken to them. And for people who are very energy sensitive, you can feel people from across the room. That's why for energy sensitive people, you need to be aware of it and keep your energy with you so that it doesn't go all over the place, and goes like, oh, let's feel into this person. Let's feel into this person. Ooh. And all of a sudden, after 2 hours in a big mass of people, you're completely drained because you have touched upon everybody's energy. So when you are aware of what you're sending out, and this is how you can measure it. What do I feel right now? What do I think right now? What did I just say? This is how you can measure your energy. Is your energy high vibe? Is your feeling high vibe? Or is it like really, where is it on a scale from, if we're scaling it? And don't get me wrong, you can change your feelings in seconds. You don't have to dwell in one state. When we get angry, when we get mad, like all those negative feelings, If we let them just be a feeling without attaching any meaning to it, it takes only 90 seconds for that feeling to rush through our body and leave it again.
Just 90 seconds.
Just 90 seconds. But
Oh
but what we do is we attach a meaning to it. Our brain immediately, when a feeling comes up, oh yes, oh back then, we felt that before, we felt that then, oh when our mother did when, and then we get in the spiral of past events, of past experiences. But that's not the feeling anymore. Again, when you look at little kids, they fight with each other. They're like, you took away my shovel, you took away this, me. Oh, you want to play ice cream? Yeah, let's play ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, switch.
Yeah. And for us adults, it's like, that's not real. They cannot switch that easily. You have to first you have to cool down, and then you have to breathe, and then you have to ease out of that feeling. And then maybe when that other person apologizes, then you can play with them again. No, it's that easy when you don't attach experiences and meaning to it. It is a feeling, and a feeling is most of the negative feelings, again, in connotations. It is a warning signal that somebody is trying to bypass your boundaries. So that's the only thing those feelings are. If you don't have any boundaries, if you don't have set values for yourself, I know we're touching on another different topic here, but this also comes to self-worth. What's your essence? Coming back to yourself, your values. When you have established them, then you have boundaries already. And then those feelings will protect you when somebody else violates those boundaries. So when you get mad, hold for a second and be like, oh, what is that person doing? What is that person saying? What is happening right now? Okay. It has nothing to do with this. It has nothing to do with this. You're not respecting that I said no. You're not respecting that I said a certain thing, that I have a certain opinion about something. So all emotions are good. And there's nothing wrong with you. Those are the main things to think about when you think about who am I?
And that's so beautiful. Like, to be able to take that away, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, be true to who you are, be you, and get curious about, what your feelings are, why you're thinking a certain way, and be open to, like, this is going to open a lot of awareness around that connection with the mind, with your own, self-worth, with your energy. Like, if you want better for yourself in your life, like, you have to make sure your energy that you're putting out supports that, and that is in line with that, because you're not going to attract that back. So if someone, as we wrap up here, if someone is listening to this, they feel touched by this, and they're like, what is something I can do today? What is something I could do to start getting back in tune with myself, my worth, my energy, any one of those pieces? What would you say is one thing they could do today?
If you're a woman, I would. Okay, for some people, this might sound really crazy, but if you're a woman, I would do a yoni steam. So, what is that? That is, you put like certain herbs into hot water, you put that pot into the toilet, and you sit yourself on the toilet. And you let that steam clean your yoni, your vagina, your canal, your womb. Because what happens with every interaction that we have with a man, they leave their energy with us. So If you're a man, or also if you're a woman and you're like, oh, this is too out there, this is too woo, this is totally crazy, go out in nature, take off your shoes, plant your feet on the ground, and imagine that everything, stress, negative self-talk, everything that is blocking you, that is stopping you, that feels really heavy on you, gets sucked into the earth. Like Mother Earth is sucking all of this out of you and transmuting it. This is what the earth, soil, does for us. Because it also does it for trees. You know, trees suck up all of the what's that gas?
The carbon?
Yes, carbon dioxide. So trees suck in carbon dioxide and move it into the earth, and it gets transmuted there. And they release oxygen for us. So it's a beautiful circle. It's coming full circle when you are in tune with nature, when you put your feet on the ground and just breathe. That's the first step to reconnect and to release energy, to let go of energy that is not yours. Most of the time, it's not even yours.
I love this. And I spend so much time out in nature, but I think I definitely need to start adding in some of that grounding and releasing the energy I have into the ground because, take my shoes off, take my sandals off and stand and do that. I'm definitely going to add that as part of my nature walks because I do them every single day. And Bea Marie, this has been amazing, incredibly insightful. Thank you for being here. And where do you show up? How can people find you?
So you can find me, I'm mostly on Instagram at moving_river. Like jump in my DMs. I'd love to have a conversation with you. But if you want to learn more about me, you can find everything on my website, www.superwoman.coach. I'm also on Facebook and my podcast is on Spotify, Apple, and also on YouTube. There you can also find me at moving_river.
Perfect. I will have all of your links in the show notes. So this I feel so uplifted and enlightened. I just feel so good. So thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that you shared all this incredible insight with our listeners.
Thank you. I just love talking to you.
Have a great day.